While M. Night Shyamalan's turn of the millennium sci-fi showstopper Unbreakable, which was awesome as we all know, went unaddressed for over 16 years, in the past 3 we've been treated to a back-to-back onslaught of the vaguely mutant comic book inspired universe that has found 3 completely polarised characters fighting it out to find out who would be the top dog in the next step of human evolution. In 2000 we had Unbreakable, in 2016 we had Split, and recently M. Night Shyamalan's Neapolitan ice cream was topped off with Glass, the final part of his Eastrail trilogy. And to tie it all together, there's some pretty juicy Easter eggs that point to the 19-year-long saga, so let's take a look at them, shall we? Hello nerds, what's going on? Don't worry, this is just a fly-by-night visit, normal viewing will resume tomorrow and all that, but today I'll be your host Jack Finch as we take a look at the best of the best Easter eggs in Glass. Roll the clip.
Be the only ones.
Maybe we believe something that isn't even true.
Today is your coming out party.
At least you know what to wear.
From Unbreakable, our boy Bruce Willis returns as David Dunn, the man impervious to physical harm thanks to his dense bone structure and impenetrable skin. Also, he's got one hell of a poncho and a new superhero nickname, the Overseer. But this time, the man responsible for creating him, Elijah Price, aka Mr. Glass, is back to put the final nail in the coffin in his own show-stopping titular title. Also, James McAvoy plays Kevin Wendell Crumb, aka the Horde, a multiple personality superhuman that encompasses 23 split identities, one of which possesses the power to go beast mode, etc, etc. You get the picture. Kicking off at number 5, Friends of Society. In 2016 Split, it was alluded to that the kindly Dr. Fletcher had a colleague who was also in the business of figuring out the mental proclivities of mutants, and we were finally introduced to her in Glass as Dr. Ellie Staple, played by the awesome Sarah Paulson, who, as she put it, specialised in a particular type of delusion of grandeur, individuals who believe that they are superheroes. Turns out Dr. Staple isn't as nice as she first made out, and she's actually a member of an anti-mutant secret society hell-bent on making sure that their powers are never revealed to society. Sound familiar? Well, yeah, that's because Dr. Staple's buddies are pretty reminiscent of an organisation from the 90s X-Men comics known as Friends of Humanity, known for their bigotry towards mutants and their plot to destroy superpowered humans once and for all. Thankfully, there are no internment camps and mutant death squads like in Days of Future Past, and the cast of Glass kind of get an easy ride, but the nod to Marvel Comics remains the same, and you'll sense a theme here because M. Night loves himself some Marvel plotlines. Next up at number 4, the comic book dude. And, of course, I told you that you'd be sensing a theme here. In the frequently visited comic book store, issues of Doctor Strange and Thor are visibly seen pretty much everywhere, as well as a statue of the New Mutants Magic, played by the awesome Anya Taylor-Joy, which is fittingly her character in the upcoming movie. But it's not just Marvel who get all the love, DC are pretty much everywhere too. Near the end of the movie, Dr. Staple walks through the comic book store and the classic Adam West Batman theme is playing in the background. That same comic book store, in actual fact, features the exact same comic book shop owner from Unbreakable 18 years down the line. In the events of Unbreakable, he complains to Bruce Willis that he's sick and tired of people masturbating in the back of his store. And as it turns out, he still hasn't managed to curb their enthusiasm. And this time, it seems that Hello Kitty is the choice material, which is worrying. These dudes are sketchy. Swinging in at number 3, we know these mutants. And this one is pretty self-explanatory, right? M. Night makes it no secret that his Eastrail trilogy is a recycled, more human version of the DC and Marvel classics, and this DNA is the fabric weaved in pretty much every scene in Glass. Again, in the comic book store, signs point toward a green-wearing hero and a purple-wearing villain, an obvious sign to the colour palettes of the Overseer and Mr. Glass, each of them representing a shade of their personalities and their own standalone film. David is green, Elijah purple, and Kevin yellow. It's not just down to the obvious illusion of superhero costumes though. The most obvious connection between Glass and the Eastrail trilogy to the world of comic book heroes is the way in which each mutant has a weakness. Like Superman with kryptonite, the 3 mutants are all bound by a fictional fallacy. David, who nearly drowned as a child, is incapacitated by water due to his heavy bone density. On the flip side, Elijah's disease causes his bones to be brittle and shatter, and the Horde's is a personal one. He snaps out of his beast persona when someone says his full name, Kevin Wendell Crumb. Kev probably won't work. Kevo? Kevlar? Coming in at number 2, Batman and Joker. And we need to talk about this whole connection between the world of comic books and M. Night Shyamalan's stab at the brave world of superheroic fandom. It's pretty obvious that Samuel L. Jackson's Mr. Glass has been reading a little bit too much DC literature to base his cunning plans for mutant world domination off of. Also, after the culmination of his master plan, he suits up in the most stylish purple velvet number that we've seen in a while. But David and Elijah's connection as hero and villain is actually notable for the fact that the latter created the former. With the East 177 bomb, Elijah activated whatever mutant genome was hidden away in David, and funnily enough, this isn't the first time that a villain has created the superhero that is destined to fight forever, or at least for the duration of this movie. Yeah. RIP. Much like how Jack Napier murdered Bruce Wayne's parents in the 1989 continuity of Batman, Mr. Glass is the poetic calamity that binds them all together. Also, he's pretty hellbent on pulling the one golden rule in the comic book villain playbook: blow it up. And finally, our number 1 spot, Shyamalan's back. Because of course it wouldn't be an M. Night Shyamalan movie without an Easter egg cameo from the main man himself. Legit, M. Night has pretty much made a cameo in every movie that he's ever made. He can't help himself. And while you may not think it, he's actually been doing it way before the late great Stan Lee. In The Sixth Sense he was Dr. Hill, in Signs he was Ray Reddy, and in Unbreakable he was a shifty looking drug dealer slinging blow in a football stadium toilet. Turns out that guy's name is Jay, and after the events of Unbreakable, where David interrogated him in the toilet stalls, you'll all be happy to know that our friendly neighborhood drug dealer actually managed to turn his life around. In Split, he's inspired by David's lifestyle and takes up a new career as a security guard. In Glass, Jay is back, and when the overseer runs into him, he's ecstatic to let him know that he's turned his life around. He explains that he used to run with a bad crowd, but gone are the days of peddling his wares in leaky bathrooms. He's back on the straight and narrow, keeping his nose clean, searching through CCTV footage for the greater good. And he's got our hero David Dunn to thank for it. It's probably the best bit of continuity in the entire trilogy, so yeah. Number 1. Well, there we have it, nerds, our best pick of the Easter eggs in M. Night Shyamalan's Glass. Let us know your thoughts in the comment box down below. If you're a fan of this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, ding that subscribe bell so you can stay up to date with our latest and greatest nerd uploads. Cheers for sticking around all the way until the end. It's always a pleasure to see you. As per usual, I've been your host Jack Finch. You've been watching Top 10 Nerd, and until next time, you take it easy.